He's the cameraman. You have to.
Oh, am I the cameraman?
I'm taking pictures too, you know. No, you have to listen.
Start off with an easy question. Ask about how many brothers and sisters.
Okay. How many brothers and sisters did you have?
Well, I have 3 brothers, and I have 2 sisters. And the 2 sisters are living. One brother's living, and my other 2 brothers are passed on.
What were their names?
Russell, and Merle, and Ross, and Mabel, and Pearl.
That's pretty
And
names.
met Aunt Perla when we went up in the snowmobile. She was there.
Can you turn that light on?
Yeah, I shut that one in there.
Turn that one.
He wants more light on his camera.
Nathan, I told you he was his dad had owned a dairy and he got up early in the morning, so you could ask him about that.
Yeah, how was it?
No, let's show a picture of the milk wagon.
Yeah.
You start with one at a time, dear. Wouldn't you?
Point over there. How many brothers and sisters did you have?
Pardon?
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I have 2 brothers and 5 sisters.
You're kidding.
Now, here's a...
I got 2 sisters living.
He's one of 9.
See this
And
milk
one of them
wagon?
lives in North Carolina, doesn't she?
Pardon?
Years ago,
And your one sister live in North Carolina?
yeah, one of them
Yeah.
still does now.
Yeah.
One in South Carolina. He's got one in North and one in South.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is a milk wagon. Years ago, they used to peddle milk in a wagon and with the horses pulling. You get over here by the light.
I can see it.
And see
I
that
used to
little
be in a
boy
white
sitting
wagon
on that?
one time.
See that little boy sitting up there? That little boy is Grandpa when he was a little boy.
Aww.
And he peddled milk. His dad owned a dairy.
Cool. That looks like a milk jug.
And that's a milk wagon.
Cool.
Isn't that pretty neat?
Yeah.
Don't you still have some of the caps from that?
Yeah, we have the,
Milk caps?
well, we have the
Well, we
bottle, one
used
of the
to.
bottles.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the cap to it. And that was probably what, 85 years ago. Don't let it fall off.
87 or something.
No, if you're 94 and you're only about 9,
I think I was
That'd be about-
8
well,
there.
you look about
That's
7
when
or
you-
8 years old there.
About the same age you guys, just a little bit younger than what you are.
What time did you get up in the morning to start helping?
Oh, about 4:30.
But what did you have to do? You had to do everything before you could go to school.
Well, we had to go down milk cows, then bottle the milk, and then pedal on the way till I got to school. Pedal out till about 4:09. I went to school.
And you had those electric milkers, right?
No, not them.
How many
We didn't have one of
cows?
those machines.
No, you had
All done by
all
hand.
done by
How
hand.
many cows did Grandpa have?
I think we milked about 35 or 30. Besides the young ones.
Yeah.
Had about 3 hogs, couple goats,
Did they have longhorns?
75 chickens.
No, they didn't have the longhorn then.
Didn't have what?
Longhorns.
The goats.
Longhorns. They didn't have
No, they
longhorns.
didn't have them. They used to cut them off anyway when they was young.
So they can't touch you.
Bethany thinks that horns are steering the steering wheel for the goat.
No.
She grabs those horns, try to pull them around.
Because horns are like
never got
girls'
very good.
ponytails. They hurt.
Yeah, that's why people would pull them with the.
I told her, I thought you said once you put a snake in something teacher's desk, but I think it was a mouse or something, wasn't it?
I don't know.
The one of your last days of school, because you said you never went back. I always thought it was a snake, but I think you said you didn't put a snake
You
in
put
the
a snake in
yes.
where the hose of the janitor's
Oh,
hose.
I took went down to golf and got a big old water snake. I held it up like this, and he just touched the ground, his head. So I took him into school the next morning, put him in a box. We're taking biology class. Teacher says, I don't want to study that, get it out of here. So I took it downstairs where the janitor kept his water hose and all this stuff, and it had a great big chest down there. So I blocked both ends of the chest and I took his water hose out, then I put the snake down in there. So he goes down that night to get his hose or whatever, he reached in and got hold of his water snake.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, they asked me what I'd done with it, and I said, I put it outdoors, left the door open. He must have come back in. That door was too good.
No, I don't think they believed you.
So then I went down and I got an old big rat out of the corn stalks.
Uh-huh.
And I put him, we had these matchboxes, the old matchbox. He just fit in there. I put him in there and closed it up, and then I took that to school. And I took it down my locker. So I had a buddy sitting over here and one over on this side of me. Two over here and a couple back there, and I told him what I had, and I said, I'm going down and get it. And I'll open the box up. So I asked the teacher if I could go down and go to the restroom. So I went down and I put the matchbox in my pocket. I waited about 10 minutes after I come back up, and I poked the guy in front of me, and I said, look, and I took the box, opened up, and we all sat there. Pretty soon the girls in the back of the room, they started yelling and taking on, there's a rat in here. Well, so the teacher wanted us to get some sticks and brooms and get him out. So we tried to corner him so we could get him back into the room again. But we opened up the boys' lab or whatever. We ended up in one of those journals. We never could find him.
I assumed he was dead, but he was living.
Oh yeah, he was living.
Oh boy.
Ew.
He didn't try to bite you.
No.
No.
Oh, he didn't have a chance. He couldn't do nothing. He cramped up in that box.
Yeah, but you had to catch him in the cornfield.
Well, I
right.
don't know. We just got him up by the tail.
Oh, okay.
Once you get
Stick
him
it
by
behind
the tail,
him.
they can't do much.
Oh,
They can try.
They're like a skunk.
don't try that at home.
Don't pick up a skunk either. I would never do that.
I told you at Christmas time, Grandma said that everybody would come home at Christmas and all the girls slept in one bed and all the boys in another bed, and a whole house full of people, didn't you?
Yeah, well, all our cousins would come home, and we'd stay all night at our grandma's house. And then that night, Grandpa would play the fiddle. I had a grandpa that played the fiddle. And in the morning, we'd get up, and he would hook up the sleigh. It's a big, long, looks like a boat or something, and put the horses on it, and he had jingle bells on it, and we'd get in the sleigh, and he'd take us all over the fields, and we'd sing jingle bells,
And-
all over the fields.
And you really had jingle bells going, though.
Yeah, we did. We had jingle bells on the horses. Then we'd go back to the house, and we'd have a great big dinner. Grandma had a table that reached yay long, and we had dinner, and we always had our gifts on the Christmas Eve. That's the old German custom. And it was a lot of fun.
What'd you get for Christmas?
Well, for Christmas, we used to get an orange, and I always got a colored book and some crayons, and I thought, oh, wow, wonderful. I was so tickled with that. That's all we ever got because we didn't have much money when we were little, and Santa Claus wasn't very rich. But I was so tickled with that new colored book and crayon. I always remembered how tickled I was to get that new book.
And she got a doll one year.
One year I got a big doll, and it was about this tall, great big doll. Mickey told me later how jealous she was with me when I got that big doll.
Oh, was she?
My friend. I never knew that when I was little.
Yeah.
Later years she told me. She said, oh, You know how jealous I was when you had that big doll?
And your brothers tie it to a stake or something?
No, I had a doll. It was made out of cloth, and of course it was, and they would tie it up in knots and tie it to a flat iron, and then they'd throw it under the bed so I couldn't get it. And I used to cry and had my Minerva. I always called her nervous.
Oh.
I used to fight with my brothers.
Surprise. So that's where we get it.
You don't fight.
Yeah, you don't fight with your sister.
You don't fight with your sister.
You might argue a little bit, but you don't
I
fight.
used to fight with them. I used to get really mad at them. They used to tease me. They were older than I were, and they thought they were pretty big stuff, and they thought I was just a little wimp, and I used to be mad at them.
Did you ever do anything back to them for that?
No, not really.
Ask me if they count anything.
I'm trying to think of another question.
You had like 20 questions Friday.
Did you ever have any fights with your brothers or sisters?
No.
He didn't fight with his. I fought with mine.
We used to play tricks on that with my one sister.
Poor Lorraine.
We'd tell her, we'd give her something, or she'd let us take that doll. So we'd take the doll, and then we'd go out back and cut the head off.
Boys used to be so mean to their sisters.
She was always gullible. So we had an old barn here down at the corner, and the wind was blowing one time, and I took the roof right off, flipped it over, and carried it over and put it in front of the house. Quite a ways. So anyway, we found out they had some yellow jackets up in there. So we told my sister to take your shoes off, put your foot in there, 'cause it's nice and warm in there. So she takes her shoes off and socks, puts them in there, and got stung out there.
I bet she
We
did.
was always doing something.
She must have been really mad at you.
Huh?
She must have been really mad at you guys.
Yeah.
Ask them how they first met.
How did you and Grandma meet?
Well, we met in the cherry orchard.
When I was moving ladders.
He was moving the ladders, and I was picking cherries. We had to work all summer, and we picked fruit, and we picked cherries, and we picked all day long. And he was a ladder mover. I was a picker. That's how we met.
Wow,
That was-
sounds romantic.
Say who approached who? Who asked who out on a date?
Who did? I mean, the question that she asked.
But
I said who asked who out on a date?
and two on a date.
I
Who
said
asked
who
you?
asked who for a date?
Gee, I don't remember. I guess.
Did you? I get. Well,
Well,
he probably
we-
asked you, but did
we
you
went
have to
a
give him the
skating
hints?
rink. My friend Mickey and her boyfriend were going to go to a skating rink, and of course Jean was a good friend of Paul. That was Mickey's boyfriend, and they stayed in the hired man's house, and they were going to go to a skating rink. So Jean asked me to go with them, so I went with them, and that was our first date. We didn't skate. I couldn't skate anyway, but that was our first date. Then we had a pony. My two brothers, they were bad boys. They used to play tricks on Gene. He'd come up the house and they'd play all kinds of tricks on him. And
Like what?
one time we had a pony, and this pony was a stubborn little thing, and sometimes you ride him, he'd throw you off. So they got Grandpa there to come up to the house and to date me, of course. And when he got up there, the boys wanted him to ride the pony. So, of course, he got on the pony, and the pony took off, and pretty soon he balked and put Grandpa right onto the ground.
Well, he took off and went down over a bank.
Yeah,
And when he
when he did.
did, this threw me right off. But then they used to take a bag,
Yeah, another time they
put
did.
some something in the bag, and then lay it alongside the road. And I used to think, well, there's some bag of feed for the cattle or something. So I'd slip right on the car and slide, go back and pick it up, and then set back over the road.
They had a rope and they pulled it out of the way. That was when Penny was coming up to our house. They used to play all kinds of tricks on her.
And you survived them all.
Thankfully. Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you would be here. Yeah.
that's right.
How old were you when you first hitchhiked to Florida?
You must have
Must
been about
18.
20. Let's see. We started going together in 1938, and we were going together when you went to Florida, you and Paul. So it must have been of 39. It was.
I didn't
Oh, I
know.
thought
You must have been about 22.
Oh, I thought you were younger than that.
No, he must have been about 22.
Oh,
Because we were going together when he and Paul went to Florida. We went together for 2 years.
Boy, that day when I left for Florida, I was down by the state line bridge. We walked down there and tried to catch a ride. Man, it was cold. February, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
We got a ride one right after the other.
Of course, back then you hitchhiked, you don't usually get a ride.
What was there in Florida?
My brother lived down there. So we stayed in the garage, but they had an apartment up over this garage. So we stayed in that. The lady that owned the garage had a tourist tours. And she said anytime those grapefruit fall on the ground, she said your boys can have them. Because I don't give them to my guests. So we'd go out at night, we'd get a big load of coal, we'd ship a few about 4 or 5 of them on the ground. We'd go out and get them the next morning. She come out one day, she says, I can never figure out, she said, how come them grapefruit falling on the ground this year? She said they're going to spoil. We got there at night. Got them on the ground, then we'd have grapefruit.
Smart boys.
That's right.
Crazy boys. That's right.
But my brother worked in the hotel and in the kitchen down there. He's a cook or something over there. He'd bring us food. It was left over. They just throw it in the garbage anyway, so he'd bring it. It didn't cost us nothing to eat.
Yeah.
you could ask him where he used to go when he was in the war. He was in World War II. Ask him what he was and where he was.
What were you in World War II? World War.
WW2.
Yeah, where were you?
He was in
where-
the Navy. So,
What were you doing in war?
what were you doing in the Navy?
What were you
Oh.
doing in World War II, she said.
I was working in the wire, driving truck, hauling stuff off the ship,
He was in New Guinea.
like a receiving base.
In
Uh-huh.
New
Everything
Guinea.
come in there and we haul different warehouses. One time I got this great big box on there. Nobody wanted it. I took it to all the warehouses. We don't want it. Yep. So I left it on the truck all day. I told the driver at night, I said, there's a big box on that truck. I said, see if you can get rid of it. So he come back the next morning, he said, nobody wants it. So the next day I took it and I rode it around about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Finally some guy said, there's a place up in the jungles. It's been there since the base was started. 2 or 3 guys working up in there. And they'll take it. So I took it up in there and they said, what you got? And I said, I ain't got no idea. Nobody wants it. Well, we'll take it. But you'll never guess what it was.
What?
It was a mower for a lawn, for a golf course. One of those big mowers.
Oh,
Took
How
it
did
over
you
the
get there?
jungles.
jeez.
How did you get there? What was it?
That's
Must have shipped it by mistake.
What
A
was
big
it? It was
lawnmower.
a golf cart.
A big lawn
golf mower.
Yeah,
For-
a big golf cart.
You know, you've seen these mowers on a golf course mowing?
Yeah.
Well, they have the handles.
Did you ever show him your spear? Did you kids ever see the spear?
Probably not. Nathan would
I'll
love to
get
see
it
it.
for you.
Yes, I have.
He brought one back
Help me
from,
get it?
from New Guinea.
No, she can get it.
Yes.
I traded kind of pork and beans for
No
the
kidding.
natives. Well, one day it was some guy get traded, I'd give him a watch or something. Traded some stuff for a watch. And anyway, the watch didn't run. It run just a little bit, and then you'd have to trade it. So I took some gasoline and well, partly gas and part water. Down, dumped it in the jungle. When I come back, there was natives coming this way, some coming up in front of me. I figured, what's it coming after? So I couldn't go no farther. I had to stop.
Here you are. You can tell them about it. It's yours.
So
That's what the natives used to kill their pigs.
see those edges?
Say yes, sir.
Yes.
They used to slide down along the ground. Then they'd go up like that and catch a hawk right in the neck.
Ew, Nathan, don't touch
Then
it.
hit you go between that and the bush or a tree, and then that's what the throat.
Oh, mercy.
You see that red?
Yeah.
He said that was from beetle nut, and that's a nut, and it was red, and that's what they
What's
did
a
their
nut? It's like a beetle
painting
thing.
with.
They chew it and then they spit it out.
And it would be red. And they'd
Tip it up this way, Bethany.
use it.
Ew. Spit on it and pick
This
on
is-
you.
This is something that they made, but one of the kids got a hold of it and thought they'd finish it up a little, and they whittled on it, so it isn't quite as perfect as it was. But that's what the natives made. That was one of like their canoes that they had.
I want to see how they would be able to fit in this little thing.
That's a
that's just
That's to show what they.
I think she gets that.
Yeah, I think she did too.
I don't know though. Maybe she thought you put them on your feet.
They're teeny weeny natives.
Cute,
Yeah.
That even. Pretty neat, isn't it?
yeah.
We take those natives as little boys about that big, be about 2 or 3 years old, or maybe 3. We go out on the dock, then we toss a coin down and drop it down the water. That was down there about 20 feet. And then little buggers would get out and get that coin. They could swim just like a fish.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just like a fun game for them, and then they got to keep the coin.
But they didn't have no value to it. They didn't got no use for money anyway.
Well, see, the women just wore grass skirts, and the little kids didn't wear anything. The men did have a pair of trousers.
That's
all
good.
they wore over there.
Yeah, it's too hot.
Real primitive. It'd be nice to go back someday and see all these servicemen go back and see that country.
Yeah.
Oh, and probably all builded with
I was going to say it's all
skyscrapers.
tourists now.
He came all the way home with that stick.
Well,
Just
anybody,
like Nathan.
anybody goes to take it from me, just
Well, it's a little harder to take than a walking stick in the
You
van.
stand it up over there right by the door if you want to.
You had to bring it all the way back.
It's taller
And
than
they've moved it a few times.
It is taller than Bethany.
That's what they call it, teak wood.
Teak.
Oh, teak wood. Didn't realize that.
Let's make furniture out of it.
How long were you in the service?
Pardon?
How long were you in the service?
2 years. That's why you had to be in until duration or whatever.
Well, when the war was over, everybody came home, but it just happened to be 2 years.
Well, thank goodness. A lot of men didn't come home in one piece.
Ew.
Or lost the use of an arm or
Grandma
something.
Hopkins had how many in the service?
She had three sons and a son-in-law. There was 4 of
Bless
them.
you.
Well, that's
My,
just. I mean, that's what everybody did then.
My brother Russell was with the Marines. Russell was with the Marines when they took Guadalcanal, and Merle was a medic in the Navy, but he was a medic for the Marines. And about a year later, his outfit went into Guadalcanal, and when he was walking along, he found a pen, and he picked it up, and it said Russell Hopkins on it.
Whoa.
What did you find?
They thought that
His
it was a
brother's
pen,
pen.
and my brother Russell had lost it on Guadalcanal, and my other brother found it a year or so later. That
Wow.
had his name on it, and they thought that was quite a coincidence.
Yeah, what are the odds of that?
But did he think when he found it that something had happened to his brother, I wonder?
Well, I think he knew. Merle was missing in
Well, he would've-
action for a while.
He would have known a year later. He would have known.
Yeah, probably.
My brother Merle was a medic, and of course, they had a lot of things, and they had a disease or a skin rash that they couldn't cure, and there was no doctors on the island. So my brother mixed up a concoction of his own and made some sort of a salve and used it on the men, and it healed her. So I thought that was pretty nice.
Whoa.
Hmm?
We had a guy that was in the service with us, and he had a brace from here up to his, putting it up way up into here, a leather brace. And he said he was a bootlegger down in Tennessee. And somebody run into him with after him. And run him into a ditch or something. So he left him like that. So he went to boot camp with us, but he couldn't march, he couldn't keep up. So they make him march all by himself alongside. So anyway, he got overseas with us, or went to California. We didn't know no more about it, never heard of him all. I figured he came home. So when we got ready to come home, we got on this ship. One of the guys says, "Hey, you remember that guy that had that brace in his back? That used to be a..." We said, "Yeah, what happened?" "He's up in sick bay on that ship, come from home."
Uh-huh.
So we went up to see him. He wasn't, just had a room of his own, like. "So what you been doing all these 2 years?" "Nothing." I said, "I've never lifted a hand to do anything, just sit around." They kept him in there for 2 years, he never lifted a hand.
Oh,
Ate, and that was it.
yeah.
I don't know why they didn't send him home to begin with.
See,
Yeah, why
I
they
don't even know why they didn't
During
keep-
World War II, they took everybody.
They didn't care what your problems
They
were,
just took everybody.
or if you were flat-footed or whatever.
When Jean was in the service, there weren't any men, of course. The men were all gone, and the women had to do all the jobs. And so I got a job at Welch's and unloading freight cars. I had to lift these big 5-gallon carboys, unloading freight cars. That's what I did. But the women had to do all the men's jobs because during World War II, they took all the men just about.
Yeah.
All the ones that were the right age.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what it took to do it too, though.
Yeah, that's what did it, boy. They took them all and they won the war. But
What was the war against again? I mean, I know, but I just didn't remember. Was it against Germany or was that World War I?
did you ever read about Hitler? They probably don't teach that anymore.
Yeah, she knows. Bethany knows all about
Oh,
all
you
about
know
her.
all
Yeah,
about
I read about
Well,
it.
see, that's the war that he was in when they fought Hitler and but in the Japanese. You remember Pearl Harbor and the Japanese? Well, he was in the Pacific area. My youngest brother was up with Halsey's Third Fleet when they took Tokyo. He went right into Tokyo with Halsey's Third Fleet, and they're the ones. He was the one that went into Tokyo. I thought that was quite an honor too.
Mm-hmm.
What was that ship out there in Hawaii?
The Arizona?
The Arizona.
We went down to see that.
Yeah, we saw that. Gene didn't see combat. He was a little older when he went in. He was about 26. And they put the older men where there wasn't any combat. They took the single men and put them in the combat. But the married men, they tried to
Well, they
keep
had a
them.
lot of single men where we were too.
Yeah, but they
Weren't
tried
you
to
a
keep-
cook too, Dad?
No,
Weren't you a cook?
no, he came home with that rating, but he wasn't.
Oh, that
There
was
was two of us with the same name, and I used to get his mail. His wife's name was Ada.
Oh, no kidding.
He was from Oregon.
Yeah.
We both had the same name, and the wife had the same name. But he was a cook, and somehow they got the records mixed up.
So when they discharged him as a cook. It's on his discharge papers. He was a cook. But we
Ask him.
didn't care, he got out.
You got out.
Ask him how it was raising Grandma and Aunt Joanne.
How was it raising Grandma and Aunt Joanne?
You know what?
I said, how was it raising
These two girls.
Beverly and Joanne?
Oh, they were good girls.
Good girls?
Yeah, they were good girls. to
They weren't
raise.
naughty?
No, they weren't naughty girls. They were good little girls.
Are you sure?
When we used to fight once in a
Yeah,
while.
they used to fight with each other.
And
but they were,
we had to sit in the dining room with the chairs back to back, and we weren't allowed to talk to each other, and we'd have to sit there until she told us we could get up. Like
but
time out.
they were pretty good little girls.
And on rainy days, we used to work on a quilt. It was little round circles, and we'd sew the edges and make a tiny little circle, and then she would sew them into a quilt. We worked on that when there was no school, and it would be rainy, and we used to like to do that. And then she gave the quilt to Joanne. Why? So she could finish it or something?
I don't know.
And Joanne went to Japan because her husband was in the service. And in all the moving, it got lost. And we never
Oh,
found
I thought
it.
you had. Oh, you didn't have.
No,
I don't
it
know.
got lost.
Well, it was with that stuff she got. She had a whole load of stuff. I remember in Illinois or somewhere, and it disappeared.
Yeah.
She never got her stuff.
And one of it was a quilt.
One of them.
And the quilt pieces, she used to sew all of our clothes. The quilt pieces were scraps of, oh, that was my sundress. Oh, that was her little skirt or something. And that's what we made the quilt out
Yeah,
of.
I sewed most of their clothes, and I knit their sweaters, and
We used to have a neighbor that
they
couldn't
were
hear,
cute clothes too.
couldn't hear very good anyway, so we go in his house. Instead of going in there and trying to find him, he had one of these old circulators. You know, you put milk in it, had to turn the handle,
Uh-huh.
it'd vibrate. So we turned that thing around and around, but he finally come out. He could feel the vibration. He didn't know he's even in there though. Come out and see us. Wonder what we wanted. We said we want a drink. We could get a drink of water.
Bethany, you want to ask a question?
Well, I know you did the. You moved to Youngsville for a little bit for the Western Auto, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But what did you do before that?
Well, I was working up what they call
Sterling City.
Sterling Steel in Erie, and they made lids for like pop models, all different kind of metal lids.
Canning lids.
And
Billy
he was-
bought the store, and then his nerves were so bad that he couldn't handle it. So he turns around and comes back to Northeast. Well, the doctor told him if he didn't get out of the business, it would kill him because it was just too much for him. So he comes back to Northeast and leaves me in Youngsville with a little boy about 2 years old. Beverly, thank goodness she was there to help me. And Grandma Holiday. And I had to run that store and sell it and inventory it and get it out of there.
Joanne came back to Northeast and went to
Joanne came
graduated.
back and stayed with my folks and went and graduated. But Beverly stayed in Youngsville.
Grandma might have
But
met
I was
somebody
also
there.
working too.
Yeah,
I worked at
and you were
Grandma met
working.
somebody.
But you stayed here for a year with.
I
Aunt Verla,
graduated
didn't
up
you?
here. No, only a couple months.
Oh well.
Then I
Okay.
went to Youngsville, but I got a job at New Process. But I used to help Dad Friday nights and whenever I could.
Right.
But I got that store sold, and I don't know how I ever did it, but I did it.
But he has also worked at Nedco, which is the Northeast Dairy. For how many years did you work there?
About 15.
Until it closed.
About 15 years anyway, and then they went out of business.
Tell the kids about, was it Ned or Ed, the horse?
Who?
The horse.
Oh, Ned.
Oh, we started out with a horse and wagon when I first started, until there was another route opened up. So anyway, this one horse, we take it, we go in the store somewhere, he'd be all right. So one day we went in and we come out, the horse was gone. Horse and wagon, so the other guy said, well, I'll go towards the milk plant, see if he went back to the plant. And I said, I'll go follow the route, see if he took off. So I was going down Poplar Street. He hadn't gone on about 3 streets. And here he goes down the street, and he'd stop,
You stop at every
Look
house.
both ways and take off. So I had to turn around and come back and start over again.
You stopped at every house.
But then one time,
He knew the route.
You knew the route.
one time I went into a store. It's only about a block from the plant. And well, I looked out, he was taking off. And there was a train went by. And I think what happened, it startled him just a little bit, and there was a kind of a dip in the road, dirt road. And the wheel might have just moved a little bit, and it just got scared. So he took off, and I couldn't get in the wagon, get a hold of the line. And he went up the end of the street instead of turning, he kept right on going. There was a fire hydrant there, and he hit that fire hydrant, tore everything right off, broke everything there was in the. Went up, stood in front of the barn door, just as calm as could be. But they had what they call. We found out later they had blind staggers. A certain time of year or month, they'd get these staggers and they'd just kind of go nuts. That happened 2 or 3 times. They told it to a guy that had on a farm, and the guy was plowing one day with him. All at once he said that horse took off and tore the harness off the other horse and just tore things all apart. But that's when he found out the doctor told me he had blind staggers.
You can put him down.
Well, when I was growing up, I know you drove the gas trucks.
Yeah.
Because I remember, you came and took me up took me up to the refinery a couple times up in Warren. I know you used to drive around to Ohio and stuff.
Well, see, one of the guys I used to work with stopped down to the store and wanted to know if I wanted to drive a tanker. He said they was going to hire another man the next day. So I come up and got the job. And then they had it go on nights. They worked nights, I don't know how many years.
We used to go through Youngsville about every day.
And I think it was Friday nights he used to stop and see your grandpa and me.
Yeah.
Then we started hauling out of Ohio then. I didn't get down to Youngsville very often.
Now you gave Paul a truck horn, right?
What?
A truck horn? And you still have it, don't you? Nathan probably has it.
You know that truck horn in the garage?
You know, in the garage when I went out there?
Oh my goodness. We used to play with that all the time. It's probably got a big, huge spider in it by now. But anyway.
That came off of his gasoline truck.
Yeah, that's why I
You
kept
never
that.
said that.
I
you
probably
never said
did.
anything about that.
I probably did. You just didn't remember it. 'Cause
You said something about some truck. That's all I ever heard. We'd fight it. Came off and be like, come here.
the neighbors probably wondered why there was trucks back in the residential area. Because this was just like last summer. I picked them up in the garage.
In Wilmington,
I did it in the garage in Farmville.
We'd be in a.
Over by the shelves, I can picture it. But yeah, I took your truck horns and blew them hard. Of course, I know how to do that from playing brass.
I was going down one night up in Ohio. It's really foggy. You could see, if you get right on you could see a car or a truck. And I got along, and I heard this noise. It was a truck right along. He was going the opposite way where he took our mirrors off.
Whoa.
And I kept looking back to see what had happened, and I couldn't find out the mirror was gone. So he stopped down there to see
What he had done to you?
what happened, and his mirror was gone. I found out later that we both hit mirrors. He took them right off. That was that close.
Wow.
That was close.
Then I come one other night, I come down, and it was so foggy, and I was looking out this way, and I thought I was following the white line in the middle of the road, kept going and going. Pretty soon another, sudden the lights come up right in front of me, and he's over here, and I thought, oh, he's on this way. I was on the wrong side of the road. Come to find I was on the wrong side of the road, and so was he. And we were both going with
With the line.
The wrong
White
white
line.
line. That's some serious fog.
yeah.
Grandpa's been saved a couple times.
For for us.
That's right.
Not
Yep.
for you guys, for us.
Yeah. When we were coming home from Youngsville, one time in the middle of the night, it must have been after New Year's or something, we got into Wattsburg to that bridge, and here was a car coming right on our side of the road. Gene didn't know whether to get over, because the last minute he might decide to get over in his right lane. But just before he got to us, we stayed there, and he went right on by.
Well,
Wrong
I
side
cut
of
it
the
quick
road.
and got the other side of him, and he passed me on the wrong side.
Yeah, he went right on down through. I don't think he was ever awake.
I was figured he'd be over in that cemetery somewhere. I asked
We
different
missed
ones.
him anyway, but I don't know how.
He must have been drinking.
Huh.
Either that or he was fast asleep.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
That's all.
probably drinking.
It could have been a little both.
Yeah, or both.
Half asleep and half hungover.
Boy, that was a close
But
one.
then one time we was coming back from down there, we got there in Wattsburg, coming out of Wattsburg, and it was a great big flash. You couldn't see nothing, just blinded you. And there was a car behind me with
No, it was ahead of us.
ahead of us.
Yeah, he stopped.
He stopped. I should have stopped too.
Well, we did too. We pulled up behind him,
Yeah, but we didn't say nothing.
but we didn't wait.
It must have been a meter light or something.
Boy, that thing just blinded us, and it looked like it was coming right at us.
What was
It
it?
must have been a meteorite coming out of the sky. And they say they look awful close, but sometimes they're miles and miles away, but they're so bright that they look like they're right in front of you.
Ooh.
Pretty scary anyway.
Say it was
Yeah.
a UFO.
That's
And you
right.
went,
Unidentified flying object.
I remember one time when a plane, John Hoffman,
Yeah.
he buzzed northeast. He was a jet fighter, or test pilot for jet fighters.
Mm-hmm.
And of course he came over northeast, so he thought he'd buzz the town. And he buzzed it, and it was so loud. My dad went right down on the ground. He was so scared. And I never knew that you could be so scared you couldn't move. And I was so scared, and I was in the kitchen, and John was in the bedroom. Of course, he was a little guy, and I wanted to go to him. I was so scared I couldn't move, and I kept saying, "It's going to hit, it's going to hit, it's going to hit." I thought sure it was going to hit the house. Oh, that thing was loud.
Who was it? It wasn't Johnny Hoffman because he went to school with Joanne. He was too young. Was
Oh.
it Gary Dumont or who was it?
No, it was, John was little, and
Yeah, he would have been
Yeah,
old
it
enough
was
if John
John
was.
It could have been, yeah.
you know, Northeast had 3 brilliant guys. One of them, let's see,
I'm
One
scared.
made the plans.
Lowell made the plans. Johnny Griffin, what he did,
One built them and one flew them.
one flew them. One did the plans, and one built them, and the other flew
Bill
them.
Halloran. See the third one?
There was Johnny Griffin, and Lowell McAdoo was the one that made the plans.
I think Bill Halloran was
And
the third one.
Huh.
Johnny Griffin is the one that made them, and John Hoffman flew them. That was a jet fighter
Yeah.
out of Ohio. I thought that was pretty good for one little town.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. The full package.
Yep, the whole package right on
That's
North,
right.
right from North.
The rest of the world could have blown up, and they still could have built it, designed it, built it, and flown it.
3 Northeast guys. They really all had good jobs for it. Lowell died really young. He was about 35 or 40. He died.
Oh, I know a story you could tell them about this little girl that beat up the boys, and somebody
Yeah.
told you about this
Well,
little girl.
Lowell was the one that, one time when they were about kindergarten age, Beverly and Joanne and Lowell and all these kids are coming home from school, and Lowell was going to beat Beverly up. Joanne, of course, she was younger, but she went over and she beat Lowell up. Somebody come up the house and they said, "Do you know your little girl's down the street beating up that little boy?" I said,
Go, girl, go.
I said, "He probably deserved it."
What did he say he was gonna do?
You're gonna beat me up.
He was gonna hurt her older sister, so she took the bull by the
Joanne,
horns and went after the boy.
she
Wow, that sounds like somebody.
She pounded
And
him
that
up.
same group of little boys, she had a birthday party for Joanne when she was 7. So we each had a party for herself. And the boys wouldn't go home.
Boy, they broke the window and, oh, I don't know what all they did, but oh, I couldn't get rid of them. They wouldn't go home.
They're having a good time.
They broke
Oh,
the
they were
window.
within walking distance. They would leave.
Oh, call your mother. It's time to go home.
You couldn't call them up.
I had a party for each one of your kids when you were
Yeah,
seven years old.
But I had good friends.
Your friends weren't quite as rowdy as Joanne's.
I couldn't see Aunt Joanne beating up someone.
Could you beat somebody up?
Well, she was a tomboy.
Yeah.
I can't see Aunt Joanne as a tomboy.
You can't?
Neither can I.
Not now, I guess.
Then I think Dad brought a dog home. Where'd you get old Patsy? From the, on the Milkview?
Yeah.
Patsy, no?
Patsy dog.
A big collie?
No, Patsy, the little white one.
But where did you get that?
Somebody on the milk group gave it to you.
We brought home Patsy. Then we had Jill. No, we had Teddy. Yeah, tell her about Teddy coming home every week.
Oh, yeah. I had this one little dog. Thursday was my day off from work. So the dog would be gone all week. Thursday morning, he comes, sits on the step. Thursday night, he'd leave. Wouldn't see him again till next Thursday.
Well, the reason is we had this little Teddy. He was a nice little dog, but he was a bad little dog. He'd go out and sit on the sidewalk, and he wouldn't let anybody walk down the street on our sidewalk. And if they did, he bit them. And he bit one man, and we had to pay a couple of doctor bills. He bit a couple of them. So we gave him to the paper boy, and the paper boy lived outside of town. So that's how come Teddy would come home every Thursday morning. We'd get up, and there'd be Teddy sitting on the front steps waiting for Jean. And he'd stay all day. When it came night, he knew enough to go back to the paper boys. He didn't stay. He knew enough to go home.
He
The
was your
next
dog.
week, Thursday morning, he'd be sitting on the steps waiting. He'd stay all day, and then he'd go home Thursday night.
He knew it was his
He
day.
was a smart little dog, but oh, he was a bad little boy. He was so cute. I hated to get rid of him, but it was
One
naughty.
guy said he bit him, drawing blood, but he had a good big long coat on. He had the whites of that coat in his trousers and socks. He never did that.
I don't think he bit him, but
So we told him to go to the doctor. He wouldn't go.
I don't know if he went to the doctor
He
or
wouldn't
not.
go, but he wanted money, but he wouldn't.
Yeah.
He
But
said,
he-
well,
he
you
was
go
a
to the
bad
doctor,
little
we'll pay
dog.
the bill. But he didn't go to the doctor, he just wanted the money to get.
He'd sit out on that sidewalk, and he would not let anybody come down that front of the house. They had to go out in the street to go by the house.
Well, it's
Wouldn't
his
let 'em walk on
territory.
the sidewalk.
Did he let you guys pass?
He was a naughty dog.
Oh, we had another dog that wouldn't let, Grandma lived upstairs over
That was
us.
a collie,
And we had one time I was getting it upstairs, putting another room on. And these guys tried to go upstairs, he wouldn't let them up there. They'd have to take the ladder and go through the window.
Yeah, they would let the carpenters in the house.
He was a protector.
Arf.
Well, I know that you just had your 70th anniversary,
Yeah.
which is a big celebration. What are some of the what are some of the keys to having a long and successful marriage?
I don't know. Just one day at a time. One
Yes,
day
dear.
at a time.
Yes, dear.
Your favorite words are yes, dear. Is it?
We do a
Years
lot of
just went by.
overlooking.
Daddy.
A lot of overlooking, Grandma said.
Yeah, a lot of overlooking. Anything that goes wrong, you just overlook it.
That's right.
Daddy, you know that joke? I can't remember where I heard it, but I always have the last say in any conversation.
That's what Mr. Tommy says at church. Tommy Bullock says at church. He says, the guy at church, he says, I get the last word in every argument we've ever had in my marriage. Yes, dear.
Yeah.
That's he gets the last word.
Last word, yes, dear.
I think there was a little
That's Tommy.
laughter involved. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Grandpa, you think he kept her laughing 70 years?
Let me think. Probably.
Probably. She was probably afraid to walk into an unlit room if she didn't know where he was.
What kind of tricks he might be playing. Well, Grandpa, you didn't play the tricks on Grandma, though. You played them on everybody else. She probably just had to put up with it with you playing the
I
trick.
knew you too well.
I remember him and who was it? He and your brother. Who had all the mumps? Joanne and I got the
Oh,
mumps.
Bob.
Oh, and we gave it to his brother, and then Dad got them.
Dad, Bob and Jean had the mumps.
They got them from Joanne and me.
Wow.
Oh,
What?
the mumps.
Your face all swells up.
Ew.
It's worse than the chicken pox.
Can you breathe?
I guess, yeah, I'm still here.
Well, I know, but like, can you breathe okay?
Oh, yeah. It's just that your cheeks look like a chipmunk. You get
You
big,
get a
cheeks.
vaccination for that now.
Yeah, you don't get it anymore.
Where'd this card come
That came from a friend of ours.
from? Yeah, it says something too.
Happy birthday.
Okay. Happy birthday to you.
Why did we go to Ross's with the snake plant? What started with that? The snake plant.
Well,
It's a snake plant.
haven't you seen a snake plant? They're a big, long, tall plant.
Oh, okay.
Green
I guess we had them on Poplar Street, and Ross lived upstairs, and I guess Lucille had the dumb plant, and he didn't want it, so he brought it down and gave it to Jean. So then Jean kept it, and he gave it to John or Ross for Christmas. And then the next year, Ross gave it back to Jean, and then the next year, Jean gave it back to Ross.
But they
They
didn't
did that
actually give it back. We broke into that. Well, they didn't lock houses
Well,
back
sometimes
then.
they'd hide it at different places.
We just go up and put it in the house.
They monkeyed with that snake plant for about 2 or 3 years.
What was your favorite birthday?
My favorite birthday? Last year, I guess. I don't know.
What was your favorite birthday?
I don't remember even having one.
Tommy
It was
said
all the
94.
same to me.
Tommy said 94 of them.
You've had 73.
When?
Well, if he had 73 and they got their 70th anniversary, that means that he was dating awfully young.
94.
I was kidding. Yeesh.
You know how old he is?
Yes, you do, Nathan. I just said it out 14,000 times.
How old do you think Grandpa is?
Yeah, Nathan, how old do you think he is? 84? You're close.
You're close, about 10 years off.
He was 84 when you were born.
You're kidding. Well, I'm old.
He's 94.
Yeah.
He's had to put up with you for the last 10 years.
About a 4, so I feel bad for you. Here,
Yeah,
that's
he's
wonderful.
94. I'm 88.
You don't look 88.
Well, thank you. I look about 98.
No,
No, you don't.
I feel 98.
Say 58.
Daddy feels 98. So jazzy. Yes, I know.
That's a- that's a-
with her, so you can't do anything. Oh, here.
She tries to feel 20.
I'm sleeping with your wife, so you can't do anything to me, so it doesn't matter.
Some of the things, one of the
First off,
things
her.
that
I'm not with
that
my wife.
Daddy always says is that I'm 10 going on 10 and a
You're
half, and she's 10 going on 16.
Oh,
Because she wants to grow up, and I want her to stay
You
here.
want to stay little.
I'm gonna get a car, that's all. You know, have my own driver's license, be a veterinarian, you know, that type of thing. Fine.
And you want to stay young.
What'd you say?
Which one's taller, you or your brother?
Me, see, look.
By like less than an inch. An inch probably.
Whether
And she got heels on right now.
Those are not heels. No.
Well, it's just
Well,
about.
Nathan.
Pretty close.
He's stretching. He's stretching, but
His shoulders
let's
are
see.
Put your chest down,
Put-
Nathan. Put your feet on the floor.
Let's see.
He's got to get out of them shoes.
Boy, they're pretty
All right, you're gonna have to get out of your shoes.
That was the little bit that gave me anything.
Yeah, he's probably standing on his tiptoes. Is what he was doing.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah. All right, back to back. Heads level. Mr. Chin up.
Ow!
Well, they're pretty close.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
They're pretty close, except when you pat his hair down. Then they're not very close at all.
They're about an inch.
Yeah, they're about an inch apart when you pat his hair down.
I won, right? Hair counts.
Yes, you did.
Hair is part of your body. It counts.
Well, yeah, okay. Then she's about 2 feet taller than you.
No, I mean the hair the way it is. Yeah, not.
Well, I could spike her hair up and make it so she was taller than me.
That's so funny. That doesn't seem possible.
Like mommy's hair, she can
but
hook it up right there. Or you can spike his hair and like, oh,
You know, Bethany once, at some youth thing. Ow. Jeez Louise, Bethany.
Sorry.
Well, at one youth thing, what was I saying?
Creation. They put bottles in their hair.
Yeah, they put a bottle on Bethany's head,
No.
and then I tied her hair on the top of the bottle, so that
Ashley did that when they came over. She put my hair up and gave it to soda bottle.
Yeah.
And they tied it.
made it so that it was like a big.
It was fun.
It would have been cool if
but
they
it was
put
fun.
a pointed hat on that, like a birthday hat. That
It
would
was
have been
funny,
really
but it
fun.
hurt like crazy. It was like it was like
You doing any fishing, Nathan?
what?
Been doing any fishing?
Doing any fishing?
Yeah, we went fishing on the kayak not too long ago.
Yeah.
I take him out. I know you had a boat that we used to take out on Lake Erie. I remember that as a kid, but my boat doesn't have a very big engine. Right here is my engine.
And hair. Ow! It wasn't
Because it's a 2-seater kayak that we go fishing out of. A covered canoe, more or less.
And they wear skirts.
Yes. Thank you, Bethany. Yeah, we have skirts for it that you put this skirt on, but you put it over you, and then it branches out
The hole keeps the
so
water.
that it keeps the water out of the hole that you're sitting in.
Yeah, they went to the out.
But yeah, I went into the sports store and I said I never thought I'd be saying this, but my son and I are looking for a pair of skirts.
I can't get over it when you say that.
Skirts.
But they sell skirts in there to guys all the time. They know what I was talking about.
And they're yellow.
Yeah, they're bright neon yellow, but they're skirts.
And they're bright
You
blue.
put them over you, and then when you sit down in the kayak, you take the end of it and you pop it over the front, and it keeps the water out. It's like it covers the covering, and then you're sitting in it, so you're sitting out of the boat. But then he would have the skirt on, and I had the open part, so that I had the fishing gear and stuff in it. And we go fishing, and
Bethany
went-
and I read a book on the dock. That's what we do.
that's right.
And we went, where was that we went to? Lake Matamesquite.
Lake Matamesquite.
Yeah, that's where we went crabbing.
We were fishing at Manio though.
Yeah, but at Lake Matamesquite we went crabbing, and I bet we caught one crab that was 7.5 inches long.
You did?
Yeah, that's bigger than we've ever had before. The other biggest is 7.
They're pretty big.
Well, the shell for the crab was about this big then, and his arms were over 18 inches wide when he put his arms out. He was a big
Did
crab.
you save him?
Oh, we ate him.
I was going to say.
He saved all the shells.
I've got the shells at home on the refrigerator,
Yeah, well.
but they're big shells. Yeah.
And some guys at the end of the dock gave us the.
Yeah, wait.
Mom will have to show you pictures. I got them on the computer.
How do you, when you cook them?
Oh, we just you put that's a the steamer.
You put them in the steamer.
And you put the steamer in there, and you put a little bit of like we put Old Bay in there, and then you fill it up to the steamer with water, and then those guys, I cleaned them ahead of time because they were so big. I didn't want all that junk in the stew with them.
Cleaned out all the lungs and everything.
Yeah, I cleaned them all out.
Took the top off them.
We chilled them. We chilled them first. Yeah, I mean, put them in the cooler.
Frozen. Yeah.
And when we put them in the cooler, then then they're not moving around. Then you can open them up and clean them out, and it doesn't hurt them, and you don't get pinched.
They were
It
asleep.
didn't hurt them.
They were asleep when you're doing it.
Yeah, they're knocked out.
And they're
Hey, Paul,
Thank
you
you,
might
Mommy.
want to take a picture of that calendar. That is one of the calendars from the
Was that the dairy?
Dad's Dairy. It has
That's a dairy calendar. Okay, I'll get that.
And the name and the dates.
You kept it? Take the picture. I think it's old. January.
He's still
He's-
taller.
I don't know.
He's a few inches taller than you.
Yeah, you're almost as tall as I am.
Almost.
Almost.
I bet Grandma.
Here we are picking cherries. Those Grandma and Grandpa Charles and Grandma and Grandpa Douglas.
Here's a nice limb. Here you are, Nathan. Here's a good one right here. See all of those?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
looking pretty good.
What type of cherries are those?
Those are a different kind over
They almost look like the Bing.
Well, they're a sweet cherry, but they're different.
I like the ones. I've got a little one. Oh, creamy.
It's a good thing I didn't have a way to circle
I didn't know I was, but
Yeah, they charge you double.
Oh, only about 5 or 6 so far for me.
Oh, you got sample.
I got
Yeah.
one. Okay.
Are you picking all the good ones?
I'm thinking
Grandma Douglas is picking all the good ones?
All right, he's got his on his belt. He knows how to do it. That's right.
my one's still pretty low because I keep dumping them everywhere else.
What do you mean you keep dumping them?
I put them into other people's buckets.
Oh, I thought you meant to do that. Grandpa Charles needs a basket. Nathan, here.
We're done.
Here. Oops. Oh, I didn't know you were taking it.
Cherry cakes.
All right, you ready?